I gave so much insulin today. The perfusion to the extremity, like IV metoprolol, IV metoprolol, IV metoprolol. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you don't know me, I'm a nursing student going into my second year and last year of nursing school in the fall. In the summer, I'm doing an externship. So an externship is basically you work under the direct supervision of a registered nurse and you get to practice most of the nursing skills, doing assessments, passing medications. You get to see kind of how they critically think about their day, and then more unit-specific things. For me this summer, I'm on a cardiology unit, so a big part of our assessments are telemetry strips. So I'm very excited to learn those. But I wanted to take you guys along for my first stretch of 312s. I have never done 312s before. I don't even think I've gone to work 3 days in a row. So I work today, tomorrow, and Sunday. I'm gonna take you along pre and post shift and kind of show you what it's like as an extern. So for now, I'm just eating breakfast. I got some coffee, definitely gonna need that. Oatmeal with fruit and peanut butter and a banana. Here's the fit, and now I gotta leave. Leaving slightly early. All right, I'm home from my shift. I didn't film anything at work because I rarely film at work in general. But it was an amazing day. I am so happy. I feel like I've learned more today than I have in a full month in nursing school. So things that I did today. One, I practiced a lot with what we call the rowers. They're like handheld computers basically, where when you're in a patient's room, you can scan their medications in and it goes directly into the MAR, which is like the medication administration record. You can use the secure chat there. It's literally everything or almost everything that you can see on their chart on the computer, but in handheld form. And they can be kind of confusing to use sometimes. So I practiced a lot learning the order of how to scan things and where to find things. Specifically, like for insulin, we check on the computer the blood glucose, see how many units we should give based on the sliding scale, then go into the room, and then I want to double check, so results, okay, that was the glucose, then go into the MAR, select the insulin, look at the sliding scale for this patient, double check the units, looks good, then I can click it, scan it in, administer it. Which brings me to the second thing. I gave so much insulin today. We had 3 patients all day, same 3, and we should have these same 3 throughout the whole weekend because they will be staying into next week, so hopefully we're able to keep the same bunch. Everyone was a blood sugar and everyone had insulin. So I got to practice a lot using the insulin pens, which I recently explained in a video, like the Culver's cap and how to coordinate pushing the needle in and then administering it. Second nature now. I feel so good about it. I worked with several types of central lines today, which is pretty awesome. So I flushed like peripheral IVs. I've done that a lot before, but I also, one of our patients had a port, and so I flushed her port. And then there was another patient from another nurse, and that nurse called me and it was like, come on, we're gonna do cool stuff. So I went with her, and this patient had a PICC line. And so from that PICC line, first I drew labs, and I drew labs twice for this patient throughout the day. So the first time I drew just like a normal set of labs that goes into the vacutainer thing. But the second time I drew labs, I've never seen this before, it was for blood gases. So it went into like a blood gas syringe because they were gonna check a lactate. So that was very cool. And then we also got a sterile urine specimen on her because she had a folian. So I got to see about like kinking it so that you're pulling it not from the urine that's in the collection bag, but from urine that's coming directly from the bladder, because technically then that's a way of getting like a sterile specimen. Cleaning the port, taking it from the port, all that. I feel like I learned a lot. That was so cool. There was a lot of learning about coordinating and kind of the nurse's job in that, because one patient had 2 separate tests that they had to go down for, a bronchoscopy and a bone scan. And they were scheduled for like 15 minutes apart, which was not gonna happen. And so we were in the secure chat, the middleman for a while, then had them talk to each other, and then everyone knew what was going on except for us. And so seeing how my nurse handled that and talked to the patient and kept them in the loop and it was really helpful to see that problem solving. I feel great. I'm going to shower quick, eat, and I think have a relaxing rest of my night because I have to wake up a little earlier tomorrow because I'm going to run to Dunkin' for Aaron and I before work. And we're gonna get blueberry coffees. Okay, hey, I forgot that I wanted to tell you. For context, this is my second day of this externship. My first day was a few days ago and it was like a partial day because I had orientation in the morning. And so I bought this notebook. My plan is to write down the stuff that I want to dive deeper into, whether that be conditions, procedures, processes, medications, all that stuff. So I want to tell you kind of the rundown of what I am learning about. So from a few days ago, I learned about kind of what we do when a patient comes back from the cath lab. So how the assessments and vitals are to be done in several phases. I think it's 3 phases. And typically by the time they get to us from the PACU, they are in phase 2. And so in general, at least at my hospital, I think it's their vitals and assessments are Q15 4 times, Q30 4 times, Q1 hour 4 times, Q4 hours 4 times, and then Q8 hours until otherwise stated. And so what goes into that assessment is you get vitals, you assess the puncture sites, so either the radial site or the groin for the femoral sites, and you want to test basically like the perfusion to the extremity, because at least with the radial sites afterwards, they put a really tight compression band on to stop it from bleeding because they accessed via an artery. I think it's always an artery for a cath, but the band is because it's arterial bleeding, so they put a lot of pressure to stop it, and we gradually wean the band. But because it's so tight, we want to make sure that there's enough blood getting to the extremity. So we test like sensation, is there any numbness, tingling? Are your fingers cold? We'll put the pulse ox on that hand so that we can watch the line. I think Aaron called it the pleth, to make sure that it's doing this instead of like that. Assess the actual site, make sure there's no bleeding, make sure there's no swelling around it. Same for the femoral sites, because like firmness and swelling can indicate a hematoma. Obviously pulses, I forgot to say that, but pulses, and then if they're after a TAVR, you do a neuro assessment each time as well. I wrote down where you chart this, kind of how to remove the TR band. So like when you put the syringe in, the vacuum wants to suck all of it out, so you have to be careful to kind of hold down the plunger so that you're only getting the milliliters that you want. And then like how you typically dress it afterwards. That was a big thing that I learned a few days ago. Today, I want to look more into semi-perms, like semi-permanent pacemakers, because I had a patient with a new one and I don't fully understand that, other than it's not a permanent pacemaker. I don't know. So I'll look more into that. I want to look more into complete heart block, kind of like maybe what that looks like on EKG and where you can go from there. And then some medications that have uses that I'm not familiar with. So I'm familiar with Jardiance, which is empagliflozin. It's an SGLT2 inhibitor, which is typically used for diabetes. And basically it makes you pee out more glucose so then your blood sugar isn't as high. But it's also used a lot in cardiology, apparently. It can be used for heart failure, and I found that there are 4 main ways it helps heart failure. It promotes some diuresis. It decreases like enlargement of the heart and increases the efficiency of the pumping. It utilizes alternative energy sources within the heart muscle cells. I don't really know what that means. And it can decrease your blood pressure. And all of these things help decrease the risk of like hospitalization and death due to heart failure. And that's interesting because I'm familiar with that med and I never knew that it had a use outside of diabetes. Also looked up colchicine, which I know is a gout medication, but since it's anti-inflammatory, we can use it for several cardiac problems related to inflammation. Namely, like pericarditis, like after a procedure, if there's any sort of inflammation that we suspect is causing a patient's post-procedural chest pain, you can use colchicine to reduce that inflammation, which reduces the pain.
Good morning. Let's do it.
Okay, hey guys, look at my cute badge reel. I switched it to the cow for today. I'm in the Dunkin' drive-thru waiting to pick up the coffee for Aaron and I. I'm in my, why can I not think of it? Med Couture scrubs. And I haven't worn these in a long time, so I'm excited. And I'll see you at work. Whew, just got back. Realized as I walked in the door that I have this, so that's fun. And I wore like compression leg warmers today instead of compression socks, and I need to get them off. I always need to get them off at the end of my shift, but like, ugh. Okay, now that I've done the obligatory sit on my phone for almost an hour and give myself a headache, let's talk about my day. End of day 2 of 3, feeling good. First time I've ever worked 2 12s in a row. I'm really tired, but not like, well, now I'm starting to after being on my phone, but not like I could go to sleep right now tired, just like I sat on the couch and now I don't want to move tired. And I had Fruity Pebbles when I got home, but I need real dinner and I do not want to get up to get that right now. But today, gave lots of insulin again, reconstituted an antibiotic, which I did part of yesterday, but today, after seeing everything yesterday, I was able to like snap the pieces together, which is harder than it looks because my grip strength like cannot like and then you get in there and you gotta I didn't claim it. Here. Like, first of all, I need 5 hands to do everything. I told my brother a few weeks ago, so this isn't related to the externship, that I think I'm starting to develop nurse hands, which is like we hold our fingers, I think, differently when we do things because I'm so used to, it's kind of similar to when people talk about girls in the store being able to hold like 20 items just in their arms. And the joke of like, it's an evolutionary adaptation to not having pockets. It's like, I'm constantly having to handle so many things in my hands. And even if, what makes it difficult is oftentimes things cannot be touched. So it's like, if I'm holding the tubing of an IV in this hand and I've just scrubbed it, it's not like I can like brace on this arm to open something else because that can't be touched. So I gotta keep it and I'm gonna use this and open that up. And now I gotta, oh wait, hold on, hold that. That can't touch anything. Draw something up here. And then, so you start to like do that. Anyway, I did a lot of like learning of conditions today. We had 4 patients today for a while. So we got all 3 back from yesterday and then took a new admit who is a STEMI. He wasn't admitted during our shift. He was admitted right before our shift. And then one of our patients unexpectedly was discharged because the plan for the week changed. So then we were back down to 3. But I was reading some articles kind of about the relationship between chronic PEs and ST elevation and like left bundle branch block and pulmonary hypertension, and then the dots start to connect and you're like, oh, because a chronic PE blah 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 can lead to pulmonary hypertension, which backs up in the right ventricle, and then you get right ventricular enlargement, and then that's why we're seeing, what was it called, dyssynergism dyssynergistic septal motion. It's basically the wall that separates the 2 ventricles of the heart has a certain way it's supposed to like move like this when the heart beats due to like the pressure changes, but several things can happen that make it not move correctly at the right times. I don't really know, but that was interesting to look at. Okay, the other thing I want to say is that I did more of the assessments on like post-puncture sites today. So I did more with femoral sites, which was good. Like checking for the hematomas there. So we did some dressing changes, nothing major. I removed another IV. You can kiss 100 boys. I did a little bit more in the med room today too. That matches up on the row. We're making sure that all the meds that we were supposed to give, we had, and they were all correct. And then she showed me how to message pharmacy. And then we did the classic messaged pharmacy. And then we're like, what's this? The pill that we were looking for. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Love you. We also had like the discharge that happened was difficult regarding pain management, but it was frustrating because I think sometimes like I do it from a nursing standpoint. So of course, like doctors do it from their own standpoint. When you're new, you get so caught up in like the black and white and the like you're supposed to do it like this and this is protocol and you ordered this many pain pills for this many days. There's no room for nuance yet of like, we can't base the home dosage that you're giving them off of how they've been utilizing the PRN pain meds in the hospital, because they aren't doing the activities in the hospital that they need to complete at home. But it was just like every time that we were messaging the doctor and being like, she can't discharge with this is not adequate for XYZ reasons, she can't follow up with this team or this doctor for XYZ reasons, they were just like, that is what I will do. That is typical for discharge. And I'm like, this isn't a typical discharge. And it's tough.
I just did a 15-minute workout with growwithjo. First one of hers I've ever done. Look at this beautiful flush in my cheeks. You can't tell. I'm sweaty. I was like, you know what? I think I have 15 minutes in me. I came across an Instagram reel of hers, which is what encouraged me to get up. And it was like, hey, even if you walk along to something for 15 minutes, doing something low effort is better than not doing something at all and always just waiting until you can put full effort. I was like, that's true. 15 minutes, I put more effort in than I thought I could. But holy crap.
I'm really tired this morning, but let's go.
Okay, this is the forecheck today. I'm hating the hair, but I don't have time to redo it. I should have just like kept part of a part and put it in a lower ponytail, but we're here now. I was gonna get coffee again, but I don't have time, but it's fine because I had some. And I'm ready, day 3 at 3.
I'm so tired. Once again, not sleepy tired, but like I need to lay down and melt into the couch tired. I'm like delirious.
Okay, hello everyone. Whoa, let's talk about that. The day started off pretty slow. We got back our 3 patients from yesterday, knew what was going on with them. Our 1 patient got discharge orders, so things were predictable. But then we walk past the tele screens and Aaron goes, wait, that's not right. We had a patient in complete heart block, shoot heart rate up, no longer being paced. We walk in there and we're like, how are you feeling? Chest pressure. I told her the other day that one of the biggest things I'm concerned about learning this summer and getting more comfortable with is how to troubleshoot problems. I'm worried about you walk into a room and someone says, I have chest pain. Okay, where do I go from there? And so today I got to see that in action. So got a stat EKG. Sorry, just thought I saw a spider. The doctors come. We obviously get all her vitals. We're talking to her, trying to figure out what changed. Turned out went into SVT, so then her heart was beating really fast. So we had to make it beat not so fast. And so in short, I watched my preceptor. I stood in the back of the room. I watched adenosine, IV metoprolol, and then amiodarone be given. Adenosine is a medication that essentially stops your heart, from my understanding. It is short-term and it's meant to help with arrhythmias that are going really fast, certain arrhythmias, and it can help you convert after like you stop it, your heart's like, oh, just kidding. Now I remember what I'm supposed to do, and it goes back into normal sinus rhythm. And it makes you feel terrible. I think it's like, this is one of the ones that you get that like sense of doom, like you're going to die. She told us she thought she was leaving us. And it's like, even when you prepare a patient to feel these things, that must be terrifying to feel. That medication, we did adenosine, it flipped, then it went back. Adenosine again, it flipped, then it went back. IV metoprolol, IV metoprolol, IV metoprolol. Adenosine flipped, went back real quick. So they were like, shoot, let's figure something else out. They ended up doing an amiodarone bolus. And as the bolus was finishing and I was in there with another nurse changing it and going to connect the amiodarone drip, I look up and I was like, wait. And she had flipped. And since then, it's been good. Talking to the resident and the attending was also really awesome because the attending was great at explaining kind of what was happening, what his thought processes with each medication were, like what he hoped for them to accomplish and why it would work that way. And he was great on keeping us in the loop of this is what I hope happens from this. If that doesn't happen, this is where we'll go from there. Feeling informed like that is a great feeling. Loved it. It was so interesting. It's terrible that it had to happen to her, of course, but it ended up okay. And I learned so much from that. All right, really, I just conked out and went to bed last night pretty early, so I'm gonna end this video here. That was my first stretch of 312s. It really wasn't bad. I love having continuity of care and being able to have the same patients days in a row, which is new. I feel like I've already learned so much. I'm so excited for this summer, and I'm so thankful to have this opportunity because I really think that this is going to be monumental in helping prepare me to be a nurse once I graduate. So thank you so much for watching. I would love to make many more videos like this in the future, so subscribe if that's something you're interested in. And I love you. Bye.
So don't be so mad. I know that it's easier said than done, and it feels like it's hopeless.